Good morning, everyone. The seventh Sunday after Trinity. The intent today is purity, and it's a day of devotion to the Holy Spirit. We'll spend a little bit of time just linking those ideas together. And as always, the founding bishops who put this particular material together, the collect, epistle and gospel, linked up the theme or the intent, and then linked it up through all the passages that we read in the collect, the epistle and the gospel. And that's the same method that I use as well, to bring out a couple of key points that we can all work with during the week, that we can all work with for longer than that if you need, if you want. But at least that's the week's work. The intent for this week is the week's work in our meditation and in our thinking, just rumination, and most importantly, in the application of everything that we do in life. Christianity is a message that enriches our life, not just for a couple of hours on Sunday, but enriches our life. If that's all it was, there really wouldn't be much point in it. We can do lots of other things with a couple of hours on Sunday. But this message can genuinely enrich your life, change your life, if you allow it, for the better. The collect is always a very helpful place to start. King James English is sometimes a little bit tricky with the these and the thous and the thems and the thoses. So sometimes you've just got to pick through it very carefully and slowly. But the collect is always a good place to start. O Spirit of all perfect purity. So now this sets the theme. Who are we dealing with? Are we dealing with the next door neighbour? Are we dealing with the person who repairs our cars? No. We're dealing with an entity in the universe that transcends our universe, which has this capability. The Spirit of all perfect purity. There is a hard thing to grasp right from the very beginning. But in all things that are hard to grasp, we set the aspiration. How do we do that? We simply say the words and we aspire to understand. We aspire to just bring these words into our being, into our heart, and what I call heart wisdom, different from thinking wisdom. O Spirit of all perfect purity, before whose light an angel veils his face, we thy humble servants do now most earnestly desire, and now here's the key point, to keep our hearts unspotted from the world, unspotted from the world. To reach this purity, we ask for strength from thee, with the Father and the Son, and so on. We live on the Gold Coast in Australia, and often our skies are beautifully blue, particularly in winter now. It's a little bit nippy in the morning, as is allowed to be during winter, but sometimes the clouds come along. And this is a very good way of thinking about what this passage means, keeping our hearts unspotted from the world. We think of our hearts then as a blue sky, a clear blue sky, the morning dawn where there's no clouds in the sky. Then during the day, some clouds pop up. So these clouds are not part of the sky, they come and go. The day started with a clean, clear, blue sky. That's how our heart is, basically, fundamentally. That's our connection with the Christ. And then the clouds come up, but they go away. So they're not actually part of the whole thing. They just come and go. And so that's what this reference to being unspotted is. It just means things that come and go. And what are these things that come and go? And how do they affect us? Then we can look to the epistle of that. And right at the very beginning of the epistle, from the general epistle of St. John, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. For all that is in the world, and then discussing the flesh and the eyes and all the things that are attractive, is only of the world. All these things are only of the world. Those are the things that come and go. But here's the thing, as we say these days. Here's the thing. We use that nifty phrase. Here's the thing. These things will always be there, and we'll always be drawn to them. and we often participate in them. We anticipate in lots of things with passion. But I think the difference between this word lust and passion is that we have to do lots of things with passion. This particular word used in the King James Version of lust means full investment in the passion, as if that's the only thing that's ever going to be important forever and ever. Passions come and go. Sometimes you hit your head, you hit your finger with a hammer, and you want to say all sorts of strange words, and that fills you with a particular sort of a passion, but it hurts a lot, doesn't it? We also have strong passion to things like ice cream and chocolate and all sorts of other nice things. And we often have a passion to other people as well. Passion forms between other people. All fine, all good, no problems. The issue comes when we invest everything absolutely in that, assuming it's going to last forever. We invest everything in that passion where this is always going to be like that and it's never going to change. Those are the little clouds in the clear blue sky that we think are going to be always there. And these clouds in the clear blue sky are not. The only thing that's going to be there is the clear blue sky, and the only thing that's going to last is the love of Christ in our hearts. That's what this is referring to, and that's what's referred to as the intent of purity. But we've got to live in the world, and you might say, oh well, it's all very well for the angels to tell us to get on with it, but they've got a different job, and they're not really in the world. That's fine. We're in the world, and wherever you find yourself, you have to say to yourself, well, I must have some job to do. If I'm here, I've got some work to do. If I'm in this set of circumstances, I must have to learn something. If things are going well, that's wonderful. If things are not going well, I've got things to learn. And how am I going to learn those? We just have to keep going back to fundamentals and saying, are we in alignment with the will of God? Are we purely in alignment with the will of God? That purity, that means an investment in things that will last forever. The opening sentence of the collect, O Spirit of all perfect purity, that lasts forever. One of the definitions of God. So then the epistle goes on and talks about these sorts of things, how we deal with them. Beloved, now are we are sons of God. And it says in here, the epistle that was read this morning by Matthew, it does not yet appear what we shall be. This is a very interesting phrase. It's not obvious what we shall be in the future. When we're in the world, because we have so many cares and responsibilities and commitments, it's not obvious what we will become. But we know that when he shall appear, the Christ shall appear, that is to us internally, we shall be like him. We will resonate with that idea and resonate with that concept. And now to the gospel. This is lots of words with these, thous, and thems, and those, which we have to unpick very carefully. Jesus is praying to the Father, and he's praying out loud. He always gives examples to his disciples on how to talk to the Father. And in this recorded passage which we have from St. John, he is indicating to us this is how you should do it as well. Talk out loud. Of course, you can talk with your mind voice, you can talk internally, but this is talking out loud. This is engaging in all the senses. When you talk out loud, you engage in all the senses. You can hear your own voice through your ears. Your voice makes a sound. Your mind is directing and understanding. It engages you fully. And this is what he's saying. Holy Father, he's talking to his Father, keep through thine own name those whom thou hast given me, that they may be one as we are one. He's saying, Father, help these people identify with the Christ light within them. And just as we are one, that is, the Father and the Christ are one, and they become one with me, so they join in the Trinity. It's rather remarkable, isn't it? It's a remarkable thing. It's not an easy, quick thing to grasp. It's one of those aspirational things that we should just sit quietly in our heart and meditate on. What does that really mean? It's an extraordinary aspiration, and it's connected to purity, and what else? It's connected to invoking the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is always with us. The Holy Spirit is the aspect of the Trinity that helps us. We can ask for help from Christ, absolutely. We should also be aware that we can ask help of the Holy Spirit, that other aspect of the Trinity that helps us in these circumstances of purity and engages us with the passion of the Trinity, the pure passion. And then the gospel is full of lots of really interesting ideas, but it concludes with these ideas. I have declared unto them thy name. He's using the word. In the beginning of John's gospel, it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So there is a connection with this word, the spoken word. This has got great power, great power. I have declared unto them thy name, that the love wherewith thou hast loved me may be in them, and I in them. So this word, the spoken word, has a power of its own. So we've touched on some important points this morning in this seventh Sunday of Trinity. And I recommend that you think about the ones, these ideas that you're comfortable with, the ones that need a bit more work, let them just sit gently in your heart while you meditate. But I guarantee they will enrich your life as you become more familiar with them, which simply means they become more a part of you. I commend all these things to you this week.